Since the first electric guitars roared in the 1960s, the church found a new enemy: rock music. Today we'll revisit the 12 most satanic rock songs according to the church. Wild rhythms, defiant lyrics, and ambiguous symbols became synonymous with sin. For many religious groups, rock wasn't just music, it was the gateway to hell. Ironically, the more it was condemned, the stronger it became. Every band, every sermon, every record burning only fueled the rebellious fire of the genre. Rock became the voice of those who didn't fear judgment or eternal punishment. AC/DC Highway to Hell. Few phrases alarmed religious leaders as much as, "I'm on the highway to hell." To the church, there was no metaphor here. No irony. No humor. AC/DC was accused of proudly announcing humanity's march toward eternal damnation.
Asking nothing, leave me be.
For conservative groups, the song was nothing less than a recruitment anthem for the devil himself. But the truth was far less supernatural. Bon Scott explained that Highway to Hell described the brutal reality of non-stop touring. Endless nights, exhaustion, pressure, alcohol, and chaos. The hell wasn't spiritual, it was physical, emotional, and very human. Still, the damage was done. In the United States, religious campaigns organized protests, radio boycotts, and record burnings. Parents were warned that listening to AC/DC could corrupt the soul. The album cover, showing the band surrounded by flames, only intensified the hysteria. Ironically, the album became their breakthrough. Hell literally led them to success. Years later, Bon Scott's tragic death would deepen the myth. For many believers, it was proof of divine punishment. But for fans, Highway to Hell remains what it always was, a defiant celebration of living on the edge, a place where, according to the church, the devil was always waiting. Behemoth, Father O Satan O Son. Decades later, Behemoth proved that the war between rock and religion was far from over. In deeply Catholic Poland, Father O Satan O Son ignited outrage. Vocalist Adam Nergal-Darski was put on trial for public blasphemy after tearing up a Bible on stage. Politicians, bishops, and conservative media demanded punishment. The song itself is complex and philosophical. Inspired by Aleister Crowley, it rejects blind obedience and celebrates spiritual autonomy. It doesn't worship Satan, it worships individual will. But for the church, nuance didn't matter. Music videos were banned from television. Concerts were cancelled. Behemoth was painted as a cultural threat. And once again, censorship achieved the opposite result. The controversy turned the band into international icons. Today, Father O Satan O Son is considered a masterpiece of modern extreme metal, carrying a message that still echoes loudly. Do not fear hell if paradise demands your submission. Judas Priest, Better by You, Better Than Me. In 1990, rock music was put on trial, literally. Judas Priest faced a lawsuit accusing them of embedding satanic subliminal messages that supposedly encouraged suicide. Religious groups supported the case, convinced that rock had the power to manipulate the subconscious and destroy young minds. The accusation focused on a supposed hidden message, the words "do it," allegedly audible when the song was played backward. The band denied everything. After a long and painful trial, Judas Priest was acquitted. The court ruled there was no evidence of intentional subliminal messaging. But the case left scars. It became a symbol of society's desperate need to blame music instead of confronting deeper issues like mental health, family neglect, and social pressure. Judas Priest survived the courtroom and emerged stronger. The song went down in history as the one that faced the justice system and won. King Diamond, The Family Ghost. With his inverted cross face paint, falsetto screams, and theatrical horror imagery, King Diamond looked exactly like the church's nightmare. The Family Ghost is part of Abigail, a full horror concept album about possession, madness, and revenge. It plays like a gothic novel, dark, unsettling, and deliberately uncomfortable. Religious leaders didn't see storytelling. They saw heresy. His concerts were accused of being literal black masses. Rumors spread of rituals and curses. Parents demanded bans. Churches warned followers to stay away. King Diamond responded calmly. His Satanism was symbolic, philosophical, a metaphor for rejecting imposed authority and exploring forbidden narratives. Attempts to silence him only increased his cult following. Today, The Family Ghost is considered a classic of narrative metal and proof that horror, when misunderstood, becomes heresy.
Merciful Fate, The Oath.
Before his solo fame, King Diamond shocked the underground with Merciful Fate. The Oath sounds like an actual ritual, a chilling declaration rejecting Christianity and pledging allegiance to Lucifer. To the church, this wasn't metaphorical. It was direct worship. Records were pulled from shelves. Concerts were cancelled. The backlash was immediate and intense. But for metal fans, the taboo was irresistible. Over time, The Oath became one of the most influential songs in metal history, laying the foundation for satanic imagery as an artistic weapon, not a religious one. Motorhead, Hellraiser. Lemmy Kilmister never pretended to be religious. He also never pretended to be satanic. Yet somehow, Motorhead still ended up on the church's blacklist. The word hell was enough. For conservative groups, Hellraiser was another example of rock glorifying damnation and rebellion. But Lemmy saw things differently. To him, hell wasn't a place of punishment, it was a symbol of chaos, excess, and absolute freedom. Lemmy once joked that if hell had loud music, cheap whiskey, and no rules, it didn't sound like such a bad place. And that attitude terrified religious authorities far more than any pentagram ever could. Hellraiser wasn't about worshipping Satan or rejecting God. It was about refusing control. It celebrated living fast, loud, and without apology. The song embraced the idea that life should be experienced fully, not lived in fear of judgment. For the church, the real sin wasn't hell. It was independence. Motorhead didn't ask permission. They didn't seek forgiveness. They simply existed, and that alone was enough to make them dangerous. Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast. When Iron Maiden released The Number of the Beast, chaos followed. Protests erupted. Albums were burned. Religious leaders demanded censorship. The title alone was enough to ignite panic.
The irony?
The song was inspired by a Nightmare bassist Steve Harris had after watching a horror movie. But the church didn't care. Iron Maiden refused to apologize or retreat. The song became one of metal's greatest anthems, a symbol of defiance and global success. Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar. In the 1990s, Marilyn Manson embodied everything the church feared. Antichrist Superstar was labeled satanic propaganda. Protests followed every tour date. Churches warned that he represented moral collapse. Manson argued the album criticized religious hypocrisy, authoritarianism, and blind obedience, not faith itself. But controversy made him unstoppable. During a decade of social anxiety and cultural change, Manson became a scapegoat for fear itself. The devil wasn't the issue, loss of control was. Motorhead, Hellraiser. Lemmy Kilmister never pretended to be religious. He also never pretended to be satanic. Yet somehow, Motorhead still ended up on the church's blacklist. The word hell was enough. For conservative groups, Hellraiser was another example of rock glorifying damnation and rebellion. But Lemmy saw things differently. To him, hell wasn't a place of punishment, it was a symbol of chaos, excess, and absolute freedom. Lemmy once joked that if hell had loud music, cheap whiskey, and no rules, it didn't sound like such a bad place. And that attitude terrified religious authorities far more than any pentagram ever could. Hellraiser wasn't about worshipping Satan or rejecting God. It was about refusing control. It celebrated living fast, loud, and without apology. The song embraced the idea that life should be experienced fully, not lived in fear of judgment. For the church, the real sin wasn't hell. It was independence. Motorhead didn't ask permission. They didn't seek forgiveness. They simply existed, and that alone was enough to make them dangerous.
Slayer, South of Heaven.
By 1988, Slayer had already earned a reputation as metal's most extreme band. So when South of Heaven arrived, the church expected chaos, and they weren't disappointed. But this time, something was different. Instead of speed and violence, the song slowed everything down. The atmosphere was heavy, suffocating, almost ritualistic. To religious critics, it sounded like ceremonial music, the kind meant to summon something dark. The title alone triggered panic. South of Heaven was interpreted as a direct reference to hell, a deliberate descent into evil. But Slayer's message was far more unsettling. The hell described in the song wasn't supernatural.
It was human.
It was created by war, blind faith, fanaticism, and corruption. The lyrics pointed directly at religious institutions, questioning how divine authority could coexist with so much suffering.
Venom, in league with Satan.
In 1981, Venom didn't just shock audiences, they redefined metal forever. With a raw sound, lo-fi production, and aggressive imagery, In League with Satan sounded like a confession. When vocalist Kronos declared, "I'm in league with Satan," the line hit like a grenade. For the church, there was no ambiguity. This wasn't symbolism. This wasn't storytelling. This was open allegiance. Censorship followed immediately. Records were banned, shows were shut down, and Venom was labeled a dangerous influence on youth. But the outrage had the opposite effect. The more the song was condemned, the more powerful it became. Satanism transformed from a theological accusation into an artistic weapon. What once caused fear now created identity. Venom didn't preach belief, they created atmosphere. They turned taboo into energy and fear into rebellion. Without In League with Satan, black metal as we know it might never have existed. Depeche Mode, Blasphemous Rumors. Not every Satanic song screamed.
Some whispered.
When Depeche Mode released Blasphemous Rumors, there were no guitars, no pentagrams, no fire. Yet the reaction was fierce. Religious groups accused the band of mocking God and promoting atheism. The song tells a story of tragedy, suffering, and unanswered prayers. It asks what happens when faith fails. When innocent people suffer and belief offers no comfort. For the church, this was blasphemy. Because Blasphemous Rumors didn't attack religion with anger. It challenged it with doubt. And doubt is far more dangerous than rebellion. The band insisted the song wasn't anti-religious.
It was human.
It reflected confusion, despair, and the painful silence that sometimes follows prayer. There was no devil in the song. Only questions. And for institutions built on certainty, questions are the greatest threat of all. If you want to keep enjoying these stories and not miss any future content, don't forget to like this video, turn on notifications, and subscribe to our channel.